Welcome back to Minus 16, the tech podcast where we don't only talk tech, but we also talk the business of YouTube. And as ever, Alex is joining me.
Hello.
We were having a little chat beforehand. You've not had the best of days, have you?
No, not the best of days, not the best week or month, to be honest with you. It's we can talk about it later. Yeah, it's just probably the signs of something not going right in my head right now.
Yeah, those weeks. I know you said also I woke up today thinking it was going to be a fairly straightforward day, and they're the ones that kick you the hardest when you sort of look at the day ahead. And, yeah,
I had
manageable.
everything lined up.
Yeah.
Like I thought I stay up a little bit late on Thursday night so that I get Friday evening, chilled.
Yeah.
But no.
Didn't quite work out. Best laid plans and all that is what they say, So
exactly.
I think we've actually got quite a lot to talk about, and probably a gooder place to start as ever. Talking about late nights is Monday, and the Scary Fast event. Did you sit up and watch it?
I was kind of watching it on the sides. I wasn't really paying attention to it. I had it on my tablet, and I was watching something else on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it was actually. I was actually impressed by how much they've quickly evolved with the chips. Wasn't too fussed about the event itself, but yeah, when you think about how long ago was it that they launched M2?
21, wasn't it?
That's
wasn't
not
it April
far, right?
April
Yeah.
of 21, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty quick. I mean, if you think. Is that faster than Intel is releasing their chips? I'm not sure.
I know I was reading or listening to something this week that Intel are beginning to play catch up now, and that they're working with their SoCs and beginning to get nearer. But yeah, I mean, considering I'm working off the M1 Max MacBook Pro at the moment, and that's only 18 months old, and suddenly that's two versions ago. It's moving so fast. And
of course, it's not just a new version, right? They actually change the technology and the architecture of the chips, right? It's nuts what they do. First was integrating everything into the chipset, and now is bringing things in there that no one thought possible. So yeah, it's just great to see. I mean, I love that side of Apple. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with, but when it comes to their silicon MacBooks, these things are amazing. I mean, I still have my M1 Max. Apart from today.
Yeah, we got that to talk
it's probably
about.
A sign, isn't it? There's a new Mac out, and my Mac just crapped out on me. Yeah.
I mean, the 3 nanometer, how much difference is that actually going to make, do you think, in the real world? Because I know it's based now on the A17 chip. They kind of caught up, haven't they? So the M3 is a new derivative of the A17.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just way faster, right? I mean, that if you look at the evolution of chipsets, right, it's, kind of diminishing returns, but it's still quite an advancement from 5 nanometer to 3. Still quite a big one.
Yeah.
It will be interesting when it gets. I think the next one is in a couple of years when it goes even below 3. I forgot the name of the company. Is it in Taiwan?
TSMC, isn't it?
Yeah, those guys. You got to watch what they're doing because whatever they do then trickles down to manufacturers. Now, it's exciting, right? Because it's already like I said. It's like. How much faster can you be, right? My M1 MacBook Pro absolutely flies through everything. I'm editing layers and layers of 4K videos, different frame rates, lots of motion graphics, music, everything in there. And it's by no means a super production, but if I was trying to do that a few years ago on my Intel Mac, I'd be dead. I couldn't do it.
The only time I ever get a little bit of delay is if I'm trying to work in After Effects. I'm not good in After Effects. I use the odd template in After Effects. Yeah. And that's the only, and After Effects is a really juicy bit of software anyway. And that's the only time I have generally any delays with it whatsoever. I mean, that's the thing. It's funny because we were talking, I've now become part of this WhatsApp group. When they were talking early in the week, I think on Monday.
Shout out to tech YouTubers.
It's a brilliant group. I've got that to me. It's a brilliant community. But they were. I saw a couple of people saying, "Yeah, my M1's beginning to show the signs of aging." I thought, "What are you doing to it, man? If you're breaking an M1 Max in 18 months, I want to know what you're producing because it's this thing is."
Fenton?
No, I don't know who it was in all fairness.
Usually it's Fenton. He breaks every single bit of gear. I don't know. He's cursed, I think. Fenton, if you're listening,
No, I mean,
we love you.
I mean, apart from the actual tech in the event, one thing I really did like about it was how short and sharp. And I prefer that to when they pad it out with all the silly sketch things, the Mother Nature thing. And I like
Yeah.
they gave us what we wanted.
Yeah, straight to the point. Yeah.
Yeah, there's your prices. That's what's released. That's what you're going to get. And I thought that was the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, the set production. I mean, if you look at the, it kind of occurred to me for the first time, because I always thought whenever I saw those events, especially when they go down to the basement and there's that guy talking about the chipset, right?
Sarugi,
the German, is it a German accent?
Johnny Sarogi, I think he's Austrian or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and he's talking. He's very intense. A very serious guy, and I always thought that that's actually their workplace. And then I realized because they changed every bit of furniture, all the deco around that space is changed to black, and obviously there's Halloween look and feel. And I realized, oh right, that's a film set basically.
Yeah, but I'm going to put a link in. I must remember when I'm putting the notes together. There's a link that I leave for a blog that I was just reading about behind the scenes, because of course
behind the scenes, yeah.
The big thing was right at the end, tiny point size at the bottom, all shot on iPhone, edited on Mac. And
I saw some snippets of it was mostly the noise on Twitter rather than the actual thing. I want to go and watch the behind the scenes. I mean, I had no time this week, but I want to see, because apparently it was all done on the iPhone, right?
Yeah,
crazy.
And they show a complete BTS. You get a complete pullback of the curtains. And it's weird because now people are saying, oh, look, it's not really fair because they had dollies, they had rigs, they had drones, they had a staff of crew of 50.
Just the lighting alone, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, they were going to have that crew and that lighting there, whether it was shot on iPhone or shot on an RE or whatever, weren't they? So the fact, of course, they're going to light it properly. It's a professional set. You wouldn't expect anything less. So I don't really get this argument, well, that's not like for like. It's showing what it can do.
Yeah. It's not like for like. I mean, it's never been like that, right? Whenever we see Apple doing the iPhone launches anyway, and we see those shots that they do, is like, I remember when cinematic mode came out for the first time.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Like, there's no way we're going to be able to achieve that. You're in a studio, everything's controlled, but it does show that a pro could use it instead of a camera, right?
So
if you have everything else.
Yeah, well, that was, now you and I have got a strange affinity with many things, but cameras in particular. And of course, I'm working now off the Canon 90D that I bought from you. Yeah. And it got me to wondering, would I be better off in, because this Canon is a lovely camera. I'm enjoying everything I'm finding out about it. But would I now be better actually shooting in log ProRes on the iPhone rather than using that?
I mean, why wouldn't you try? I mean, I think it's getting to a point where it's now becoming, it will depend on the lens, right? If you put like an expensive lens on that camera, is an AFC, is still a cropped sensor, right? But the glass will make a difference. I don't think the phone can beat an expensive lens. But I think the lens you got right now, is it a 24mm?
24mm, yeah.
Like a pancake lens, right? It's kind of an entry level. Yeah. And so I think I wouldn't be surprised if the iPhone footage, like the 4K 24 out of the iPhone, is better than the Canon.
I've just put the Blackmagic app on. You point me out to Tom Buck a few months back, and I've been watching him, and he was one of the first to pick up on this free Blackmagic app. Yeah, and that's what they shot the iPhone event on. They used the Blackmagic app. They've said it in the blog, so I'm going to have a play around with that over the weekend. I've taken a few frames this afternoon.
Yeah, I've been using that app as well. Yeah,
is it good app to use?
You can.
Is it a good app to use?
Yeah. It's easier to manage than Filmic Pro, which is the other one that
I've used.
I'm not sure. I've bought it ages ago, but I think it's they both do similar things, but it unlocks a few things. Like there's a log mode in Blackmagic and also the Filmic Pro that doesn't exist on the iPhone, so that's cool. And there's also it's like a higher bit rate, and there's also the fact that you can change what microphone to use. So if you've got a back microphone or the front microphone, so that's really handy. And of course, changing things to manual without affecting everything else. Yeah, it's very intuitive.
Yeah, I've already seen that you can change. I generally shoot at 24 FPS. You can change that. You can change the ISO to 4850. Even in the few minutes I've looked at it, I can see there's a lot of granular reads you can go through there.
Point you to another creator who is done a lot more in-depth reviews on the app, and at the end of his video he's got a couple of suggestions that I agree, which is basically there are a couple of settings in the Blackmagic app that when you change that, it doesn't allow you to change something else at the same time. So
okay,
I'll share a link so you can share it here as well. But came out of nowhere, and it's an amazing app. Yeah,
I think I'm going to have a play with it I mean, I'm no colorist, but I mean, I have already bought one set of LUTs and color correction logs and so on. And I was looking at a couple of other sets this afternoon because, that's the thing, looking at that Apple event, the genius people they had working on posting that in the colouring, and it's beautifully coloured, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But I think if you got I was assuming you had Final Cut, but yeah, in Final Cut, it comes with some default iPhone ProRes LUTs, so
right,
that so out of the gate, it's not too bad. It's like what you see on the phone. And then from there, you can add more layers of colors, that to your taste. But there's loads of people who created LUTs for it, and
yeah.
To be honest with you, for videos like this, I just go straight to the 4K 24 as it comes out of the camera, because But if I'm doing maybe a product shot, I'll probably do log in that scenario. But for filming myself, I just use straight 4K 24, which is incredible. I mean, I don't know if you've been playing around a lot with just the standard 4K.
Yeah, I've been taking some shots. I need to use it more. The thing is, I'm loving this Canon so much that I've got used to using it. I've got everything set up in here like we all do. I've got the tripod. It's point down, sit, shoot. It's done. I need to play. I know that camera's good, and I need to have a bit more faith in it and play with it some more, I think. So I might shoot a couple of my talking heads on it and then have a play and post and see how it looks.
Yeah.
At the actual event itself, you didn't spend any money, did you? You were a good boy.
No, I bought nothing.
I'm really surprised. And you said you bought nothing. I was so shocked.
Yeah, because last time, when I bought my Mac, I didn't buy it straight away either. I bought it maybe December or January. I kind of waited.
Didn't you have to buy yours because your other one got nicked or something? Was that?
Yeah, that happened as well. But I was going to buy it anyway because mine was an Intel and it needed an upgrade. But I think I had an issue with it was kind of it was so popular. I couldn't order it. I had to wait anyway till end of November or something. So I ended up buying a Mac M1 Pro initially. And that wasn't good enough for me. It was fine. I ended up being with my wife at the end, but I got the 14-inch M1 Pro, which was, I did a couple of videos on it and did some, worked for some content. Didn't quite pay for itself, but it was good to have that. At least, I tried the M1 Pro, and it really wasn't enough for me. Even I think I had a lot of memory on it, but I ended up getting the 64 gig RAM M1 Max. Pretty much maxed out apart from storage. So. It's still flying.
Mine's only a 32, but again, no regrets there. Now, because you of course bought the M2 MacBook Air in the summer, didn't you?
Yeah, the 15-inch. Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, but I bought with 16 gig RAM and the 256 gig. Yeah, that to me, I mean, I could probably use it for a lot of things, but not for my video editing. It would probably struggle a little bit.
Because I haven't used M2, so I'll be jumping straight from, when I say jumping, I bought an iMac. Now, I've had this massive love affair with iMac. For me, Apple is iMac. I bought the MacBook Pro, and it's great. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic machine that I rely on every single day. I've got one iMac sitting behind me over there that you might just be able to see. I've got another, my beloved 27-inch iMac I've had since 2015, which was the first Mac that I ever really spec'd up. Before that, I just bought them off the shelf. And that one, because my design business was going well at the time. And I thought, right. So that and it's been through so much. I mean, not to mention COVID and lockdown. That was the one that I bought home from the office. It's all those memories attached to it. But I have bought an iMac, and I've gone the other way. I've gone absolutely bog standard. I bought as low a spec as I can because I want to see what M3 is really like. So I bought 256, 8 gig, RAM, it's as basic. It's the entry level machine.
That annoys me a little bit that spec still there because it's almost like they're almost forcing you to buy more, right, and spend the upgrade. It's just I don't know. It annoys to see 8 gig and 256 on a 2023 machine. It's just like. No.
Of course, I was actually a good person because I watched the event live, saw what they did. I thought next morning, right, I had a bad day for some reason on Tuesday. I can't remember what. Anyway, it was about 9, 10 o'clock when I finally got around to ordering it. And of course, I did what we all do. You start off on the left-hand column, and I began looking towards the right. No. 1,300 quid's enough. And I really want to see what a really standard M3 can do as opposed to this M1 Max. I mean, I don't know. I've got big hopes that this M3 could actually be shock me. It could be better than I'm giving credit for.
Don't get me wrong. It will it'll function properly, and it will be, amazingly fast. But it just annoys me that 8 gig RAM is still something they sell as the lower base.
Yeah,
it should start at 16, I think. I don't know. Let's ask our listeners
and viewers. Yeah,
do you agree with that, or do you think 8 gig is normal and fine in 2023?
Interest, because of course only going to be 256. Storage is going to be a thing for me. Cloud storage. You're a Google Drive person, aren't you? More than Dropbox.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've noticed virtually all creators that I deal with use Google Drive. I feel like I feel left out because I use Premiere. I feel left out because I use Dropbox. Everybody seems to use Google Drive.
Yeah, I've been using. I mean, the main reason I do that is because it allows me to be kind of flexible from my. If I change my main device, like from an iPhone to a Samsung device or whatever, I don't have to worry too much about my photos and whatever. I don't even I have the Apple plan. I probably pay too much for it without using it, but I don't have I don't sync my photos to whatever iCloud. I just sync it to in the full original quality to Google Photos.
Which,
and again, even in those, even if it's like a live photo, because that was one of the concerns I had before, was like, what happens to the live photos, right, that you take on your iPhone when it goes to Google, and you download it on another device later, or you want to watch that, do you lose that ability? And you don't. It kind of keeps that setting so you can watch it as a live photo later in any device. Yeah,
because I've been using Androids more, and I'm really enjoying the Pixel 8. I've actually had to invest and buy more because I only had the freebie 15 gigs or whatever you got with Google.
That goes pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So once they had my details, they sent me this email through saying, we'll give you X months free. And so now I think I've got a terabyte. So I've actually got meaningful storage in there now. So I've also put Google Drive on. I can feel a small gravitation coming towards Google Docs and Google Photos uploads so much quicker than Apple. So much quicker.
Isn't it great? And the search is amazing as well. I mean, I know they're both getting very smart in how you can search for like me next to a blue car, and you will find the photo of you. So they're both doing that. But I always thought Google Photos has more clever stuff in it. And like you said, to upload it, I use it as because until Near Drop came up, which is something that I just recently found, I was using Google Photos as my AirDrop.
Yeah.
Go up and then download it somewhere else. Yeah, which is
just as quick. On Monday,
almost as quick.
We were talking. The last video I put up, I was so out of my comfort zone, and you'll understand it. I'm used to coming in here, sitting down in a controlled environment where everything is. I know it's how it sound looked at, and I decided no, I wanted to show the Pixel 8 out and about. So I just took the tripods out of me and went around Windsor and Eton is where I filmed it, because I know you said it was nice scenery. That was where I was by the Thames and everything, and. By the time I got back that night, all of the videos that I'd shot were already in the cloud. So like you say, I could come back and just download. It was all sitting there ready.
Yeah, it's really great. And I like how Pixel, I'm not sure, Apple don't do this. They still call it IMG and then the number. Pixel, I love it that it will even record, if you record like an action pan, it will name it action pan in the file.
Yeah.
So it's so easy for us editing videos. Like when you've got like 50 clips to sort through.
B-roll, yeah.
Oh, it's also, on the S23 Ultra, I have to put watermarks because the naming isn't great. I mean, it on the file structure, it actually puts in folders, so at least you can go in there and go to your RAWs and whatever.
Yeah.
But the Apple stuff is just all named
IMGs.
IMGs. I mean, the RAW ones are easy, right? Because it's got the file extension RAW. But yeah.
No, but I mean, what I've seen, obviously, part of that video was showing its weaknesses as well, but the actual using the Pixel, I'm really enjoying. And that Magic Audio Eraser, man.
Oh, yeah. I've demonstrated that in my video, which was meant to be uploading today, and it's tomorrow now. But yeah, I was genuinely shocked because I don't think they demoed it. I mean, I haven't watched the Google event either, but I've seen lots of people talking about the fact that you can remove like wind and like a baby crying or dog barking or whatever. But there's something called noise, which is just random noise.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell is that? So, and I didn't even hear it. But when you just play the noise and you say, all right, he picked up some random like,
this ambient
in the distance thing, and it's like it removed completely. And it doesn't. I mean, we've all used those sort of like removers and cleanings like in Audition, in Final Cut or whatever. No, what they're doing that on the mobile without impacting too much of your you don't, because usually when you do this treatment, you sound like you're inside a box or something.
Really artifacty,
but they managed to keep your voice almost your original. It's crazy.
I've bought so many plugins, Waves. I bought loads of plugins. I bought all sorts, and they all have it. As you say, your voice just begins really getting artifacty. Whereas this on device, and the fact is, it puts in almost layers. As you say, noise, wind. It's amazing.
And it's the ease of. I mean, it's
just drag.
I mentioned this in my videos. Like, it's not just the fact that you've got so many AI tools built in there. Is how easy it is to use them. I mean, because if you try really hard on the iPhone and on the Samsung stuff, you can probably achieve some similar results, especially with photo processing. And like, I don't know if you tried the long exposure shots on the Pixel.
No.
Where it's like, might be at night, without a tripod, just handheld, click, and you'll get the trail of red lights or whatever.
Oh, right? I did do time lapse. Is that?
No, this is long exposure.
Right.
Just going to long exposure and take a shot of a car moving or someone running or something. It's got to have some movement. And the Pixel just generates something. It kind of knows what you want. It kind of you retain the subject just enough. Whereas with the Apple, if you just try to do like take a live photo and then you go back to the live photo and change it to long exposure, it would just be a blur. You won't see too much. And of course, if you change it auto manual, use an app like I don't know, Blackmagic or something else, you probably achieve some of these results. And same with the S23 Ultra, you can probably get to that result, but with a lot of like knowledge and tripods and whatever. I love the Pixel because it was just like one button and it does it. It kind of knows what you want.
They make it so simple. Yeah. I mean, they've still got those two big features that they're supposed to be releasing near Christmas: video boost and the night sight.
Isn't that like for low light stuff? Is it?
Night sight's for low light. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, I did do a bit of low light testing. I just because I was trying to show the Pixel in every day. So I came back from Windsor that day and then just sat in the living room just with normal lights on the table. So you kind of get, and that was shot in 1080, I seem to recall. So I was trying to show in as many different ways as possible. I know you mentioned that you didn't think the audio on it was, the mic on it was brilliant. By the way, I'm going to use the podcast as a personal Q&A session now. Right. Okay. So here's my thing. And mate, if I've been stupid, tell me. I have been trying, that Rode mic that you gave me?
Yeah.
Right, and I have another Rode.
The shotgun mic.
Yeah, and I've got another one, a smaller version of that as well. I thought, right, I'm going to take that with me. I'm going to use an external. So I took a TRS cable, which converted in from 3.5 into USB-C, and it just will not sit. Now, I don't know if it's an Android thing. I put it on Twitter a minute ago, and Daniel suggested something, but I can't get this. I don't know if
I think that mic needs power. I'm not sure.
Well, there's a power button on it. So, I mean, I've turned it on because there's internal batteries in it. And I've got a smaller version that doesn't need it. And it just, because I'm not saying it's about iPhones, but that isn't this argument here. But with iPhone, you just put it in and it says, are you plugging something in? Done, and it's away. So I've got a feeling the cables are right. I don't know if it's an Android thing that I'm looking for, permission somewhere. I just can't get the Pixel to pick. Do you want to have a go for me later over the weekend? See if you can find your Pixel to pick up an external mic. I can't work it at all.
Okay. Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I've been using the Rode, the little wireless mic.
Yeah.
I actually compared that because that's a 400 quid, about in the US it's probably $400. I've seen Jules Holland using it. It's like, so it's Jules Holland's like a BBC presenter.
Yeah.
So, pros are using this stuff. And I was very surprised by how close the Pixel results after you've done the editing sounded to that thing. It was like it's 400 quid piece of equipment, which requires a lot of cabling and you extracting that after. And there's the Pixel here, right, which has a software version of it. It's not as good, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I mean, that's where that device is winning at. It's just giving you so much. But yeah, I'll remind you every weekend, see if you can get an external mic to pick up on it, because it might be something I'm doing wrong. I read that you had, because when you buy the Pixel, you get that smart adapter, they call it, the USB-C to USB-A. And I read something, you need to use the official Pixel smart adapter. Of course, being fairly new to Pixels, I thought, okay, I'll try it.
I never heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, you'll see it's in the box, but it doesn't work. So I can't get it to work for love of the money. So we mentioned Final Cut a little bit earlier on, and again, it's worth mentioning because this might be an issue that people that are listening or watching are having.
Yeah.
What was your issue? I know it's a brilliant program, and in a lot of respects, I wished I used it. But what was the issues you had today? Then, because this beast that you're working on, I know you put up some tweets about it.
Yeah,
and it looks like there's a lot of footage in there.
Yeah, like I said, it's a movie. It's one of those videos where I kind of forego the monetization because I'm using music from Post Malone and like commercial music, right? And I've uploaded the songs in another video just as a test to see if I would get if I could actually use it. But it's you can't monetize the video, but you can use the song. So I'm gonna do that.
Right.
And it's a 25-minute long. I did the Brazilian version last week, which is the first video I did first in Portuguese, which was just interesting, and that's done really, really well. So I'm hoping for some success on the English channel, but you never know.
What's it on?
It's the Pixel 8 Pro, but comparing that against the 15 Pro Max and the S23 Ultra.
Right. Yeah.
So lots of comparisons. It's a review of the Pixel because I haven't done a proper review of the actual phone. So it's the usual rather than just unboxing and whatever. I'm just going through everything and in a lot of detail, using it outside, my usual. So yeah, it ended up being quite an extensive video. But yeah, it's got call quality tests as well with people in the UK. Anyway, I was working. I mean, it was editing fine. No issues. Like I said, I was up until 2 a.m., maybe 2:30 last night, finishing the editing.
You've got iPhone footage in there. You've got S23 footage, and also Pixel, and probably Sony as well. All sorts
of different frame rates and slow mos. Lots of graphics, lots of different. A lot going on in those videos. It's probably not the hardest video I've edited, but it's up there. It's probably top 3. So went to export it, and I saw the size of the file when you export it 4K. For Apple devices, I choose the 2:1 aspect ratio because I like to feel the frame on the mobile. Anyway, that usually takes about 10 minutes, even for that long video. But usually it's like a 1 gig, maybe 1.2 gig file. This file is in 4 gig.
Each, right?
Yeah, so 4 gig file export, and you just didn't. Yeah, got to 80% and it crashed. I was like, what the hell? I was like, the thumbnail was ready, the subtitles typing was ready. Everything was like ready to go, and out my usual. And I even texted you saying I'm gonna be a little bit late for the spot.
Yeah.
And then it crapped out on me. I was like, oh shit. So I restarted the Mac because it happened before. This happened, in the last 2 years. It happened maybe 3 times. And yeah, it didn't export again. So I was like, okay, so let's go for lunch. I've got my son with me, so we went for lunch. And I thought I'll try one more time. I'm not going to be here anyway, so I'll just let it export. And came back, and it was done. I was like, I've changed nothing, and it was done.
I was going to say, was there any pointers? You said it's happened before. Can you link anything? Is it when it's multi-cam, when it's all different footage, or is there anything?
It's got multi-cam in it, but it's just weird. It's just the error was The error says request VC pixel buffer for frame returned, and then a number, which is the number of the frame. I Googled it, and it's like, okay, you got to divide the frame number by the frame rate of your line of your timeline to get exactly where in the timeline it is. So it's like I'm doing this calculation, going, there's no fucking way. So I found where the footage was like, okay, there's nothing. I can watch it. Yeah. I can play it back.
Yeah.
It's a bit of footage from my A-roll. It's like there's nothing wrong with it. So I just exported one more time. So screw it. If it does it, it does it. Then came back and it was done.
So the A-roll's on the Sony.
Yeah.
So you got? Did you shoot in log in there as well off the iPhone?
I always do. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
no, on the iPhone. No, on the iPhone. I had ProRes stuff in there, but not much. Most of the footage I used was not ProRes, not log. The A-roll out of my Sony's log. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking you've got so many different kinds of bits you've chopped into that. So when's it uploaded? Well, it's exported now, is it? You've got the file ready.
It has exported. It's now just sitting here. I haven't uploaded yet because I just kind of had enough.
I've had those days. I've had those feelings. I know.
Yeah, but at least now I can kind of relaxed. I mean, I was going to probably work on another video this weekend, but instead I'll just kind of, after you upload it, right, you got to respond to comments, you got to promote it. And so I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, it's better with a fresh head, I think. And talking of next week's videos, mine is clearly going to be on the iMac, too good a chance to miss. I've got an idea, I think, of what I'm going to do with it. Yeah. But the bit of news that I told you just beforehand, which ties into the iMac and is because of the iMac, if you've been listening and watching to this podcast recently, you'll know that I nearly got scammed because I was vain and tried to take what I thought was a sponsor. Moving on past there, many 2FAs later and Google Authenticator burning up on my phone now with everything that I possibly own. And with VMP.
I'm glad you mentioned it though, right? Imagine if you hadn't mentioned it.
Oh, damn, yeah, I know.
We'll be here like probably
really crying. Right, yeah, exactly, yeah. I've got a VMP, you name it, I've done as much as I possibly can. Anyway, bye. I have now actually this week, this coming video will be my first video with a sponsor. And it's genuine. Go. I approached them. It's MacBook. Brilliant. Clean my Mac. So it's genuine. And
where's the round of applause soundboard? We need a soundboard, don't we?
There is one in here actually, but I haven't got a mouse to hand, so I won't bother trying to find it now. But it feels really good. I mean, do you remember when you got your first sponsor?
I think, yeah. It wasn't a brand that Yeah, it was a Wi-Fi router. People, yeah.
So that's the thing. For my first one as well, I've actually got a brand.
It's a recognized, it's a decent brand. Yeah,
because I was cheeky. I got in touch because they've been in touch with me recently with the setup. They want a lot of writers to begin using affiliate links on that, and they were offering a really good deal. So okay, I've been in touch with part of them, and I knew one other woman who'd given me an affiliate link for Clean My Mac a long time ago. So I just thought, still had her email. She might have left. I didn't know, so I just dropped an email. She came back and said, what's your rate? I gave her a suggestion. A day and a half went past. It's obviously gone quiet, gone dead. Then she said, we can't match that rate, but we'll give you this. Are you happy? And I said, yeah. And then, of course, being new to it, I said, well, do I have to give you copy approval? Are you giving me a script? What's going on? She said, no, just these are the key points. We're not worried about views.
Off you go.
Yeah.
Nice. Those are the best ones, yeah.
And it's something I genuinely like and use. And, maybe it did help me avoid the scammers with, who knows. But it's something that we've used.
And that's the thing, right? So now what I would say is use that as one of your kind of selling points, right? So after you've uploaded it, you've got the video's out, try and get as much data as you can. I don't know if you've got like a Genius link set up.
No, I haven't.
I definitely recommend you do it because or anyone listening, right? When you start getting affiliate links, you want to know how you're performing so that you can then tell your prospect customers, right, later on, say, right, do you want to work with me? And here's my past performance on selling. So you can say, I had 100 clicks and it sold 5%, so I've got a 5% conversion. Anything that you can get on data or on analytics early on is really good because then you can on your, you're not just approaching a brand and saying, let's collab and without anything behind it. So you can say, right, here's an example. Here's the video I worked on, so you can see the quality of the video. By the way, here's how many clicks I generated. And Genius Links is a tool you use to track links. So you create it's quite cool because you can create like vanity links. So you can, so the link itself won't look like a gobbledygook number. It would just be genie.us / it can be David clean my Mac or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it looks clean on the description as well. So people, it won't look like dodgy.
Well, we'll link to that as well. The one thing that I have got is Impact. That's a dashboard that I was in this morning.
Now, so that's one of the affiliate systems. One of the.
I know
we probably need a podcast just on that because I have so much grief with those systems. I mean, because they're all different. And
let's talk about it next time round. If you've got a lot to say about it, let's cover that properly next time round.
Yeah, because it is a nightmare to manage. As a creator, you end up with, eventually, I don't know, I'll probably have more than 20. And I can't even imagine what the bigger creators have because it's just like, how do they manage? But yeah, you create all these logins and some of them will say you log in with Google. That's brilliant, right? Because you straight through is secure. Some of them will say, you haven't logged in for a while, so we need to send you like an email with a code. So you got to copy the code. It's just like awful to manage. And not to mention the payment terms. And some of them are like, oh, you're paying 2 months. Someone's like, "Oh, we'll pay when we feel like it."
Well, I did ask them, because obviously it is business. I said, how will the payment work? And they said, and I've got no reason to doubt, they said 5 to 7 days after they upload, we'll pay it into your Stripe account. So, which I've got 2FA on.
I had the weirdest. Actually, that just reminded one of the things was this week. Actually, one of my sponsors recently was a interesting one. It's a recognizable brand. I won't mention them here, but Marques Brownlee uses them a lot in his iPhone videos. It's a brand that everyone probably knows. And yeah, they said, okay, let's do something through an agency anyway. So okay, did a video, uploaded. I think it was the video yesterday, and the payment was a weird one because they said, we can pay you before the video even gets uploaded, just to make sure that you upload it on time. It's like, okay, fine, but it came into I don't know, about 10 different payments from various different names. It's like,
just
the names are like.
One sponsor video.
I'm so worried about this now. It wasn't a lot of money. It was one of those, right? I had a slot. They came in and said, okay, fine. And I had the actual products already. And so it wasn't really hard to do. So really easy mention. But the payments came in all these drips and drabs of random PayPal submissions. And the name of the companies were like Pizza Hut, Barbecue Joe's or something. And it's like,
damn,
what is going on? So yeah. I'm like, what is this? Oh yeah, it's my finance team. They do that. I was like, I'm going to refund all of this. I don't want this in my business account at all.
Yeah.
And I want a payment from some organization that's like,
a single organization. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really dodgy. Really dodgy.
It's amazing how, I've just been worried about everything now. Okay, that was great because I approached, that's bona fide. But there was I mentioned earlier on that I've become part of this WhatsApp group. And it's brilliant insofar as I'd had, I think, 3 or 4 emails this week. All that kind of general, the ones you get saying, would you review this, da, da, da. So I just, again, went straight to them this time. I didn't click on anything, didn't look at it, and just went straight into the WhatsApp group. Have you heard of these guys? And somebody always responds and said, yeah, they're spammers, yeah, pay terrible, whatever, being a part of that group for that alone is worth it.
Worth it. Yeah, shout out to Patrick who got me into that group initially, I think. Yeah, because, it was one of those things I was like you, like by myself, like trotting along and
trying to learn.
Seeing what works. And it was like, join this group. And there's a lot of noise, not going to lie. And I dip in and out once a week. Maybe I'll go in there and see what's going on. But especially when I was starting out, it really helps because you're like, how much do I charge? How should I approach this? And are these people legit? Yeah. So it's really good to have another bunch of creators who have gone through this or are going through it.
You just don't feel so alone. And it's a great filter because, now that I've been bitten, I'm really worried about answering anything. But now I've got that first
time
filter
of the year
there.
as well, right? It's Black Friday coming up. It's Christmas. I got a text this morning saying, and who hasn't got something coming from Amazon, right? I got Royal Mail delivery.
Oh, the Royal Mail ones.
You were attempted to deliver something. Click here to see. It's like, I was so close to clicking. It's like, oh, is obviously a link to something. I was like, no. So yeah, just be aware, everyone, right? Don't click on links on a text message. It's just like
exactly. In fact, on that particular one that you were just talking about, Royal Mail, I didn't read it. My other half read it. In one of the tech correspondents from the Sunday Times got caught.
Yeah,
with that app, with that message, and again, he's in the business like we are. He started saying something. I feel so embarrassed.
Because I've been. It was a funny thing. I ordered something for my son, and they tried to deliver 3 times and failed.
Yeah.
So I'm already kind of in that. When is this thing going to get delivered? And this morning, Royal Mail, we tried to deliver. It's like so close to clicking. It's like, oh my gosh, I nearly fell for it, and it would have been a disaster.
Yeah, well, apparently it cost the guy from the Sunday Times $1,000, I think. That one click, and again, as he said, it's praying. You're just, you might be in the car, you see it, you click, whatever. It's that one moment of when you're not paying for the. We all know not to do it. I knew not to do it,
and it comes in as an organization like Amazon or Royal Mail. Yeah. It's like you're gonna, he's gonna look very legit, and then sometimes you will be a bank as well. So like you look like your bank saying, there's this unidentified thing. Click here to clear it or whatever. So just be really alert at this time of the year, guys, because there's so many scammers out there.
Where I used to sort of F and Jeff when it was like, oh, we're going to send you here for authentication. Now it's like, please do it. Because with the bank that I use for my business banking, every transaction I do, they send an app within my banking app on the phone. It's not a text, so I have to go in there and authorize it. So for instance, when I bought the M3 Mac this week, it's a large spend. They said, I had to go into there and say, yeah, it is me spending it. And then you go back to the purchase. But I'm happy now. I'd much rather be safe than sorry.
I'd much rather do that. Yeah. I mean, it's bad when you're not in the country and your transaction gets declined, and there's not much you can do when you're abroad. So you have to kind of call your bank and whatever. But yeah, at least they're doing stuff to try to stop scammers.
And as we're sort of talking about brands, and you said something a minute ago, so it was something I wanted to chat over with you anyway. But I mean, I went direct to this brand. I'm not going to be that lucky all the time. Now, I know you've been talking and working with an agency, right? So, which point do you transition? Okay,
but no, I'd still give it a go. Yeah.
So up until so how did the brands early? I'm stumbling over my words. Let me be more succinct. Early on, did you go the direct route like I did, or did brands begin to come to you? And then what made you think about trying the agency route, and why have you dumped them?
Yeah, both. Well, for since the beginning, I've been reaching out on every channel, right? Twitter, Instagram, email. At one point, I hired because I read Tim Ferriss's book about, I don't know, the 4-hour work week or whatever it is, and in there I said outsource everything. So okay, that sounds good, and running a business myself, it makes a lot of sense. So I tried to outsource my reaching out, my email management, and I had these people in India trying to do some work, and it worked to a certain extent, but it wasn't really that valuable. The amount they were charging me didn't really offset the cost. And during that time, I did get quite a few leads to, okay, we finally at least got some contact with a brand, and I don't think I managed to get more than 2-3 deals in a 9-month period with outsourcing that part of the business. Yeah. No, that wasn't through an agency. That was me using like a personal assistant.
Right. Sorry. Right. I'm with you. Yeah.
Virtual assistant.
Yeah.
And you train out these people, you spend time with them, and eventually they get good, and they're great for like writing articles. So I said, can you go, there's a new iPhone coming out, do some research and give me like a summary of it. So, that was good. But I can ask ChatGPT to do that.
I was just
going
to say, yeah, clearly, yeah.
So it started to become not as valuable. So that was a trial. But during that time, there was me reaching out a lot to brands, and I got like a gaming chair out of that. I got lots of Instagram DMs are great, and I think I shouted to you before. After a few weeks, if you don't hear back, just use the ghost emoji. A lot of people will come back to that. It's a great way. Herman Miller will never come back to me, but yeah, apart from them, I've sent enough ghost emojis to them. But a lot of brands will, and I think that's one way. And then recently. And there's so many brands. I think after 50K, maybe even after maybe 20K, I think I got approached a lot of marketing agencies. And these are people saying, we'll work on your behalf, we'll get the brands in, and obviously they take a cut. And I always said no to them because they always sounded dodgy. I had a few meetings, and then one of them, I think, 3 months ago, or just over 3 months ago, before the really busy season started, I decided, okay, I'll give these guys a go, because they sounded legit. They were very transparent as to how much they were charging. And they had some big creators on that roster, right? They showed me who they were working with. I was like, okay, 500,000 subs, here. Linus used them before. So, okay, well, I'll give that a go. But it's an exclusive thing, right? And I was a bit reluctant to that, because it means you put even your contact email, on YouTube, is not your email, is their email. So you have to change that to, obviously you get a copy of all the emails you get. But I was a little bit, okay, we'll give it a go and see how it goes. So I got enough deals to come in, and but they weren't better than what I was getting myself.
And
what I was receiving at the end was the same, or sometimes even lower than what I would get. So sure, they take away the admin stuff. So they were doing the negotiations, they were doing the reaching out and whatever. But I wasn't seeing it
wasn't a net gain.
Yeah, it wasn't like I wasn't earning more. It was like, if anything, it was a little bit more stressful, because every single submission, for approval was a pain, right? Because it doesn't. It's not me saying to the brand, here's the video, which is normally how I work. Is me going to them and them going to. It just ended up being, a time zone issue. I lost, I think, 3 videos, which I think in total is like 7 or 8 grand. Where I was ready to upload, they didn't approve it on time, and I had to completely remove the 2-minute out of the video. In one case, the video became less than 8 minutes, which means YouTube it basically just tanked. So I lost in every single aspect. It was like I got hit several times, but it was my decision to say I would never, kind of damage my viewers, make them wait, not have a video this week because of a sponsor. So I just decided not to go ahead with them, and in the end, I just thought, you know what, it's just see you later. With regret, you're fired.
You're fired. I've always wanted to do that into the camera. You're fired. A couple of points to raise there then. Obviously, being new to this and having my first sponsor video coming up, is it a given almost that you're going to get people drop off as soon as you get to the sponsored bit?
Yeah, you can see in the stats. I mean, there are clever ways. I mean, one of my, I think, Squarespace ones where, I try to really integrate it. So if I'm doing like a comparison between 2 phones, I'll use that segment to say, for example, let's look at the display comparison, and it will be me talking on the display. So if you want to see how the display look on these 2 phones, it will be me talking about the ad. So it'll be a little bit of fun. Right, so in that case, I did an alter ego version where it was version of me on one phone and me wearing a wig on another one.
Yeah, I remember.
So it's kind of a conversation between the 2 phones. So you can see the 2 phones in working whilst I'm doing the ad read. And I think there's a lot of people who do that in an amazing way, like, what's his name? Gerald and Dan, and obviously Peter McKinnon.
I was just going to say, McKinnon, for my money, is the absolute master. He just makes it part of the story. He weaves it in, and before you know it, you're in the ad read. And it's
bloody hard work to do that for every video, right? But I think those are the ones that I got loads of comments, and I still get comments saying, actually, I skipped through ads. This one I watched. It's like, okay, so it's good to know that at least it worked in that sense that the brand got some eyeballs throughout they got what they paid for. Yeah. Whether that translates into a sale is another question, right? But at least it's
again, it's like anything. When you watch somebody do it, because with this coming up, it's very much in my mind. I don't want to look a chump next week. I don't want it to be a real cut and paste thing. I want it to look reasonably professional. I've kind of got to that point now. My videos look okay, and I don't want it to suddenly be a car crash. But I know it's not going to be as easy as it looks.
Yeah. Just think about the script, right? How when you're writing it, so that it's not it's not abrupt, so that it feels like, okay, I've stopped the flow of the video to watch an ad. If you make it so that you're not changing the scene, flowing, and if you just kind of make it like integration, right? Is the name. I think that's I don't think I nailed it. I think sometimes I do it. This one for tomorrow, there's going to be an integration in there where I decided to do something different. So I've decided to do, because I've seen in the stats, every single integration, you see the dip. So for this one, I split into a minute at the beginning of the video and a minute later. And I kind of link them both. I mean, it's bloody hard work to plan it. But I thought at least it doesn't detract too much from the video. Both integrations, I'm doing something that they're interested in because it's either testing the audio or testing the 4K camera. So at least it's not like I'm not skipping just for because it's an ad. I might watch it because I want to see what the camera looks like during the ad. But I thought 2 minutes is too much sometimes, right? So you've got to maybe. So I'm trying. I'm going to see if it improves that dip, if it's spread out. Because I've seen a lot of people do that. They say, okay, they'll mention for 15, 20 seconds at the beginning, and then they mention it again in the middle, and then again. So it's like 3 slots, but spread out. And I wonder if that's a better way of doing it.
That had kind of gone through, particularly with the product I've got, of course, and it being on a new Mac. There's all sorts of ways that I think I can make it work without necessarily being a car crash slapping you, a slap around the face. I don't know. We'll see this time next week. We'll know about any sex.
The vast majority of people will understand it, and they know how that's how. I mean, every single channel has to pay the bills and buy the equipment and buy these devices that we review. But there's always a comment. You're always going to get one that says, "Oh, here we go. You're a shill. But just whatever."
I was almost waiting. Actually, before I get around to talking about that, I was just going to say the video I watched of yours, the Bend It Like Beckham one, that was an integrated video. Was that a charging brick? Who is the sponsor now? Who is it? Was it a charger?
It was Anchor. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for instance, using somebody as Anchor as an example, if you do a good read for somebody, a good ad for somebody, do you find there's return customers and they like you and you build up a rapport and they'll come back to you every few months and say, would you do this? That works, does it?
Yeah, big time. Yeah. Not all of them, but, especially if the video does well. I've got a few, especially around this time of the year where the video does really well and they always come back for more. Sometimes you have to remind them as well. So right now I'm reaching out to brands that I worked with in the summer, say, hey, Black Friday is coming. Are you doing anything? It's, yeah, definitely. But a lot of them will come back to you.
And presumably there are brands.
Which is great, right? Building that long-term relationship is really good.
I mean, I've seen it in business when I've had businesses, but of course this is new to me and I was wondering how it worked. I didn't know if it was just a one-time hit or whether if you do begin, presumably you've got a certain, I don't know, handful of 4 or 5 sponsors you like to work with, have you? They're going to be easy to work with, they're going to pay well.
Yeah, they're starting to feel, I've got a couple, maybe 2 regulars, right, that I know that can go to them anytime. And as far as, this year is gone, every time I went to them and said, right, I've got a slot, do you want to take it? They said yes. And I think every creator has those
go-tos.
It'd be nice to have a few of them, but honestly, I don't have that many that I can go and say, right, I've got a slot, do you want it? And they'll take it. But so far, I've got a password manager that have said yes to pretty much every single. Out of 6 or 7 times, they've said no to one.
Stepped up, yeah.
So and there's a case manufacturer on that. Again, especially right now, they want more than I can give them at the moment, which is great.
Yeah, nice position to be in.
Yeah.
And I think one of the last things I wanted to mention on this particular episode was the community in YouTube. Now, we've all heard about it.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of weeks, I've really begun to find out about it. Not only the YouTube app, which is basically all creators, of course, sort of talking shop and talking behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But it's the actual viewers. I've had the most amazing, when you're feeling fragile and you're nervous. The video I put up this week, for instance, I was so far away from making a video that I normally make, just where I shot everything about it. And yet some of the comments I've had, everybody has understood what I was trying to do. And I don't know if people realize just how much it matters to us when you get that. And it's not an ego thing.
No.
It matters so much, doesn't it?
I noticed, I was like, there was a lot of outside different shots and you were trying different things. I thought it was great, and it felt like you've done this several times before. It didn't feel like it was new to you, which is great.
I felt
picked
awful.
up on a few. Yeah, you picked up on a few very important points about the device, and it's great. And I saw some of the comments as well. I was like, okay, I totally agree with what some of them were saying.
Yeah, I had one just before we came on. It was, and again, this isn't a flex at all. I'm trying to get across, if people are listening and watching this and they watch a lot of tubers, and just getting involved and letting those people know if what they're doing right or wrong, as long as it's done in a decent, purposeful manner that's actually helpful. Somebody said the other day about possibly changing my profile pic. Okay, that's fine. If that's what people are saying, I'll take that absolutely on. But I had somebody from Croatia come and said, just keep doing what you're doing. The subs will come. And that's all he said. And I thought, you know what, that means the world. Just when people get involved, it's like, because we sit alone all day,
so
don't we, doing
nice.
this?
Yeah, even I'm kind of approaching 100K, right? I know it's going to happen in 3 months probably.
Where are you at now? 80 odd? 79, 80?
84 and a half.
84. Right, yeah.
So it's coming, right? So I know if I just keep going, it's 3 months away, which is like, I couldn't dream of it, right? But I still, whenever I see a comment like that, I was like, it's so good to hear that either your lighting is good or your audio is good. There's stuff that sometimes it's not about the review as well. It's about the effort that you put in behind, and what was that song that you used and whatever. It's so nice that people notice some details that we spend a lot of time hacking over it.
I do look at your videos an awful lot, and this isn't me trying to sort of suck up. I've got no reason to say stuff. I because I know, obviously we know one another, and I know the work and effort that you put in. So I know that what you do is realistic and achievable, and if I keep working hard, you can make those results happen. And drawing inspiration from other people that you know and respect, it helps so much when you're having a flat day and you're struggling for inspiration, or you think, I can't make that cut, or how should I? And you just look at some of the things. I don't think I've ever knowingly copied one of your videos, but if I'll go in there and think, okay, that's how you went about it, right? And then think about ways I can maybe use that kind of approach.
It's a great way. I mean, a great way to find inspiration is reading comments on bigger channel videos as well. I sometimes go to a popular channel. If I'm talking about something, I'm like, okay, this is not new. There's nothing new here. Then I'll go to the comment section in a popular video. It doesn't matter who it is. I'll go in there and see, what are people asking about? Because sometimes, invariably you find lots of questions that the creator's so big that they haven't had time to answer it.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes, it's one of the top 2-3 comments as well. And there's like complete no response from the creator, which I'm thinking, I know I can't answer to every comment already. Just at that point that I can't. But the top ones is like, you got to pay attention to those, right? But anyway, that's a source of inspiration sometimes. Go in there and say, well, what are people actually wanting to know? Sometimes even on Marquez's video, you go in there, it's like there's so many people complaining about something or asking about something. It's a source of, all right, there's a signal here that people are wanting to know about something. So a lot of my videos will have stuff that feels random, but it's because I found either someone sent me a comment or I found it somewhere in other videos.
And I think I've been guilty when I've been watching creators and not getting involved. And now the boot's on the other foot, and I realise how much it matters, particularly for the smaller to mid-sized channels. As you say, once you get up to those huge channels, it's just a comment amongst everybody else. But on those smaller to mid-sized channels, you know how much it matters to the guy that's put the effort in, puts the yards in to make that video.
It's awesome. It's awesome to sub as well to smaller channels. Because still today, I think in the Brazilian channel, I had one of the biggest channels subscribed to both my English and the Brazilian one. And that's a nice, like, oh, that's nice. He thought it was worth subbing, or maybe he's stealing my content. I don't know. But, I saw actually someone in Brazil, a big channel, like over, I think it was 3 million subs, using RJ's face and whatever. It was about the iPhone overheating or whatever. It wasn't mean or anything. It was just a reaction video.
Yeah.
But it was funny. But I just think, it's nice to go to other channels, and even if you're not saying much, just sub to them and kind of show some support.
But again, the guys on the WhatsApp group, I think when I first got involved with it, there was a fair bit of chatting and introducing, blah, 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 blah. And, then we're just subbing one another's channels because we're all kind of fighting the same fight and all interested in the same things and in the same space, but it's not competition at all because we've all got a different way of telling that story. Yeah. And it just, I don't know. As much as I've had, problems with all sorts of things with YouTube recently, that whole community thing I've realised now, both with people inside the game and with viewers.
And it's that time of the year as well to do collabs, right? To start saying, well, what was the best tech of the year, right? And then you call other creators to talk for 20 seconds, 30 seconds on what they thought was the best. And all of a sudden you got a 10-minute video that, with lots of different creators, which I think people really enjoy those. I mean, it's hard to make them popular, but I think they're enjoyable to watch. And I enjoy making them because... I haven't done a collab in ages, but it's that time of year
got
that you
number?
Start thinking. But
I might be able to find you a slot.
I think I've done one with Daniel this year, and that was it. Not many more. Yeah, so definitely.
I know we started off doing generally having like a guest on with us, and then we've got into our own pattern and I've really enjoyed it. I really look forward to these every fortnight. But I was thinking maybe we should rattle up a couple of names to try and come on with us.
It's so easy to do, right? Especially when you're already recording to have a minute scripted at the end just to say, here's what I think of X, and that goes into your video, and you do the same for me. It's like, it's a break for the audience. It's an opportunity as well for their audience, for the creators' audience to know you. I think it's great. I think that's the whole point of YouTube, really. That's the community. Yeah.
And to round it off on another positive note, again, regulars to the podcast will know that I had issues with Medium and their whole algorithm during the summer. This month was my best ever month, or October was my best ever month on Medium.
So shout out to Medium. So they listen. So what, do we know what happened? Why?
No.
Or is this okay, my bad, guys, we fixed it?
I don't know. Exactly that. I mean, I'll name figures. I went from $90 in September to $1,400 this month.
Amazing. That is awesome.
And I haven't. It's the same me. It's the same me. So you tell me what's so different. The boost.
So what's your? I mean, I'm curious about that because I've tried this so many times to kickstart it, and I do like a couple of articles and then go cold. But I don't think I definitely haven't got to the point where I can monetize. But what's your formula? What's the how do you get there? Is it to keep it? Because sometimes my articles are like 20 minutes long or something.
I think generally mine are sort of 1,500 wordish and not massively long.
1,500, okay,
something around there. And I used to write every day a week. I've now dropped it down to between 3 and 4, and I'm going for quality.
That's a lot still, yeah.
It is a lot. And I woke up this morning and I was thinking, I couldn't think. And then suddenly the subject was staring me on face. I thought, I'm buying a new Mac. I'll talk about the apps I'm going to put on it first. Yeah. And then I think from my point, I've started making it much more personal. I found, this is going to sound really weird, but I found my voice in how I write. So I think the words on the sheet kind of sound like me talking now. Before I was trying to write to textbook and to like as in an exam.
Yeah.
I've relaxed now, and I think that's made a difference. So when it got really low on Medium, I thought, this is going to go two ways. I can either moan and groan or look at what I can do and make myself better. So I took it as a kick in the nuts and thought, okay, go away and actually just make yourself better.
Do you put a lot of, I mean, is it just words or do you put a lot of pictures in it?
Pictures. Yeah, I tell a story a lot. I mean, this week I've used a lot of the pictures straight from Apple's press releases because it was all about the event. And
that's so good as well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But generally, I'll always be taking a lot of, and that takes time. If you look on Medium, you'll find there's one where I showed the rig that I set around the iPhone with a cage and a SD and all sorts of things going on there. Yeah. That one picture probably took me about 45 minutes to an hour to get. Just because I set the whole thing up at home. It had this faux brick wall. That was done in AI, but everything took so long, and that's where the time goes. So I do try to tell a picture with the stories through it as well.
Yeah, I'm going to try this month. I mean, it's so bad already, but I know I can probably, as I'm writing the script, maybe think of the article.
Exactly.
Right? I don't know. I've tried before to repurpose the script, and that just takes too long. I mean, I don't know. I wonder if there's a write the script and then write the article straight after.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I go, what I wrote today, it's not going to be the video lock stock, but when I was writing, I suddenly realised, you know what, I think I can see the way I can make this video next week on the iMac now from what I've written here. So that's kind of gave me inspiration. And that's really good fun because when you're sitting writing, then your brain, that half of the brain switching off, thinking, right, this is what I can do for the video out of this. And there's a lovely, as long as it's not just repeating word for word. Yeah, I think repurposing and you've put in the hard work of creating it in the first place. So, exactly. And the weird thing I found is that people like me writing about Apple and iPhones, but hate me making videos about Apple. They're much happy making videos about Android and Pixel. It's weird, but that's the thing. You do get very different audiences.
I don't know. I think you're assuming that because. The thing is, it's easy for us to see a video that tanks and then assume that everything else will tank. Yeah. I would say that is one thing that I think I've learned is, don't take one or two videos as a measurement because sometimes there's so many things that could go against you, right? It's not just size. I think it's timing, how many other videos are there. The competition is great, right? Sometimes it's just a case of your video just didn't have it, it wasn't born at the right time, sort of thing. So it's maybe persevering with stuff, and especially as we're approaching like January, February, this is a good time to experiment.
Try things,
maybe go back to doing Apple stuff because you've got so much knowledge.
Yeah,
you'd be ashamed not to do that. So I think, and then if you've done like a good, I don't know, 10, 15 videos and they all tanked. Maybe it's time to say, okay, that's definitely not for my channel.
No, it's true. What you say,
separate channel just for Apple, right?
Two of the best videos I've had on the studio display. The last one in particular, I think I've made 3 videos on that studio display, and they've all performed well for me. Maybe because it's a more narrow niche, not everybody's looking to spend.
There's not many videos about it, right?
Yeah,
as well. That's probably that as well. There's less competition. So I think again, I did well at the beginning. This quieter months. I mean, last year was a weird one because it wasn't that quiet. We got a few launches in
January.
It ended up being, January and February ended up being quite a good month, but a good month. But in general, that's the quiet period in tech. And I've experimented with Pixel before, and that really helped keep the channel afloat. And I think even other stuff like not related to smartphones in my case. That's the other thing. I'm getting I like talking about smartphones and I like, you know, the different stuff, but I'm starting to get a little bit bored. So I'm going to take January, February to just maybe do something different. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there is only so much you can end up saying about a phone. I mean, I'm not saying they're all the same, but in essence, they do much the same thing. And
it's exciting, right? And there's always something new and whatever, but I don't know. I've used every smartphone out there pretty much.
Well, the only one I've not bought yet is the Samsung S24s. It'll be, so I'm hoping I'll get a couple of decent months and I can at least buy it and try it, because then I will have had the Pixel 8.
That's going to be 15. Quite a good one. Yeah, that's an opportunity, right?
So I think, you know, I know it's generally a quiet months around there. So because I think their events late January, early February, isn't it? So
yeah, it's supposed to be January, February anyway. But yeah, I think it'll be good. I mean, now is the time to start looking at maybe renders for it and, you know, just talking about it in general, because that's the other thing that I've learned, and I think we talked about this before. Sometimes it's like doing a single video on a week where it's launched and expecting to do well is almost like a recipe for failure, because it's just not how it works. So I like to prep the audience. So, you know, like when I got the Fold 5, I had already done 3 videos on the Fold 5 beforehand, saying here are the things that I want to happen, why, you know, and then just complain about stuff that didn't happen before you even get the device. But because, I don't know, you're kind of training, in my own head anyway, I don't know if this is how it works, but you're kind of training the algorithm that your channel has people interested in this device, so that when you actually have it in hand, at least the people who watched the previous videos will go, all right, finally got it. Let's watch it.
I think before we do go onto our Friday evenings, your last video, I heard you say you changed out the thumb. Any particular reason?
Yeah, it was tanking. I mean, it was quite interesting because I made a lot of the video about the thumbnail and title. It's one of those videos I actually planned ahead.
Yeah,
so in the video, I actually mentioned the bloody thumbnail. That's how confident. I know. I was so confident that the thumbnail would do well. It was David Beckham.
Because Beckham wasn't with his pose, his open arm pose.
It was popular. It was funny. I didn't mean to do. Sometimes I'm looking for any picture just to try in thumbs.tv, which is what I use to see how the thumb will look. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't quickly find the thumb. I was desperate, so I just picked any image that I could find in my downloads folder, and that was in there because I made a joke about it in my Brazilian video. Anyway, I thought that actually looks okay as a thumb, so I played around with it and said, okay, I can actually make it sound like, you know, because it's bend and fold, bend it like Beckham, fold it like Beckham, whatever. So I played around with it. So okay, that sounds good. I'll go with it. And initially had a nice spike of, you know, people watching it, and then quickly started to tank badly. It's like, hang on, this is, and you know, you kind of just know that. I know the Fold is not going to do amazingly well right now because it's just, you know, it's three months old now almost. But to be doing that badly, I thought, okay, that's something here. So I changed the thumb and to a boring, just a picture of the phone.
Yeah,
and is overnight it picked up and is now almost back at 10%. So it's great.
That's what threw me actually, because I started to watch it last night, I think, and I came back.
It was
to
a 2.8, by the way. Last night, 2.8%. That's when I decided, okay, yeah, which is very. I mean, usually when it's bad for me, it's like 6, 7. I was like, that's when my threshold starts to. I'm twitching to change.
Did you change the title as well, or just the thumb?
And the title, yeah. Usually they go together, yeah.
Yeah, I did both on my last video as well because it was not going particularly well, and equally, I found that
I saw one of yours. It's like, watch this now. I'm always too. It's like, okay, someone's desperate.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been there.
It was like the stopwatches.
Title, maybe.
Because I've always been too polite. And I thought, no, okay, I'm just going to go full clickbait. Just stop and watch this video.
Yeah.
You know, it's worth it. Yeah, I decided it was worth giving it a crack. But
just don't do what I did, right? Which is like go really, I nearly, I swore on the thumbnail. And
yes, I remember that one. Yeah, it was an Apple one, wasn't it?
I think I deleted it by now. Yeah, there was a few. There was a few.
Yeah,
actually worked really well. So I repeated it, the formula.
And very, very last thing, in case people haven't watched the video yet, your quick take on the Fold. So I know you love your Samsung S23, so where you're at on the Fold?
On the Fold? Like the Galaxy Z Fold 5? Or
the one you just made, it was on the Fold that you just made. Yeah. So what's your take on it?
I love it because, as I said in the video, one of the things is in this September, October, you're not really using a device every day, you know, because there's so much going on. And I had Samsung, who had the iPhone coming out, the Pixel, which I wasn't planning to get. So I wasn't really paying a lot of attention to the Fold. Now that, you know, it's kind of quieter, you know, and there's no launches coming out, right? There's a new Fold, actually, a new Open that I haven't got.
Right.
So I went back to my usual routine of using the S23 Ultra during the day. I've got my banking apps in there. My main SIM card is in it. But in the evening, or, you know, if I want to do something like that requires using the S Pen, it's the Fold that I go to now. And it's a natural thing to use it. And, you know, and as I said in the video, it starts to feel second nature now, even though, I don't know, 2 years ago, I never thought I'd be using a foldable. I thought I'd try. And for me, it worked. But it's one of those devices that still very enthusiast led at the moment. You know, it's gaining popularity, but I don't think it will go anywhere until Apple enters the market. You know, when Apple releases an iPhone, if they do it, you watch, right? People go, foldable is the future.
Yeah, but, folds so far just really haven't taken off, have they? Really haven't.
No, it's still. I mean, I've seen more and more people using it, and whenever I show it to people, I mean, every single person, like, it doesn't matter whether they're iPhone or Android users, they go, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible." Some people go, "Can't deal with that thing in the middle, like the crease." But yeah, that was it Xiaomi or Huawei? I don't know who. Oppo. Oh, one of them released an Open. That looks almost like that, almost no crease. So I think Apple is probably waiting in the sidelines, right? Just kind of
waiting for the text.
When the display is good enough, whatever they do.
Yeah.
But then I saw they're just launched. Maybe I'll do a video about this. There's a patent for a rollable phone. Apple just filed a patent for that. I was like, that's weird. So they're skipping the Fold. They go to iRoll.
Yeah, just jump ahead of it. Yeah, you know what Apple do? They wait till everything's all the other people have had all the hiccups, and they just jump in at the last minute with the hero.
Yeah,
do what Apple do best.
Plus, they've got the goggles coming out, right? So that's going to
be yeah. Next year's, I'm going to miss out on that party because I don't think I'm going to be able to afford a pair. So I'm going to watch all of you boys.
I don't know. I mean, we're in the UK, right? So we're probably not going to get one here. It's going to be one of those.
Yeah,
like Google Glass. I had to import my Google Glass back in the day. Couldn't get it here.
No, it's because they said early next year, and that's, I think, just in America and Canada to start with, and then, you know, around the rest of the world. Who knows, eh? So you're uploading tomorrow then, are you? Yeah,
I'm probably uploading it tonight and then let it simmer overnight, because I think that's a good thing sometimes, to not publish it straight away. I think it's good to upload it, get the subtitles in there, let it rest overnight. I think that'll be good to. Maybe that will do something to the indexing overnight. I don't know.
What do you leave it unlisted as private then, or
unlisted? Probably, or private. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Yeah, or I'll just publish it with what's it called? Scheduled to go live.
Yeah.
That's the question though: is when should I go live on a Saturday morning?
See, I haven't done a Saturday in a long time. Thursdays and Fridays seem to be doing pretty well for me. But
yeah. I've had a few good days where I uploaded way early, like 10:30 in the morning UK time, because that time catches
India tea time,
the India market in the afternoon. So I'm debating, because most of my audience is still in America, so, you know, usually
they'd
2
wake up to it, wouldn't they? Yeah, so they'd probably be asleep as it's being posted, but then it hopefully be getting through onto their feed by sort of 8 a.m. their time.
If it gets enough traction in India, then it doesn't matter too much, right? But if it dies early, then you're in trouble. But,
and interestingly, my demographic on the Pixels is absolutely to the percent equal between India and America, which surprised me. I was really surprised at that.
Yeah, America is still quite strong on iPhone, right? So.
Yeah, I was surprised that it was as strong as I thought. India would far outweigh it on the Pixel, but that was even Stevens. But right, my man, good one. Enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about. I hope your Friday evening's better than your Friday daytime's been.
Yeah, me too. The whole week was a nightmare, but yeah, cool, man. Thank you. Let's catch up in 2 weeks.
Yep, let's do that. Thanks for watching, listening, and as Alex said, we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time. See you very soon. Bye.
See you soon. Cheers, mate.